AI, the ultimate shortcut. Why wouldn't you use it? It saves time, everyone else is using it anyway. It takes a bit of patience, it takes a bit of getting into. There's always going to be things that you don't want to do. Probably the thing that I would use it for is probably the area where I see it's most useful. And I think if I had AI, I would not have learned that about myself. That would have been quite sad. I would just say, if you're a student now, what the heck are you playing at? Welcome to another episode of Mulling in his own stupidity with me, Dave Mullen, the show where I try to find answers amongst the chaos and uncertainty of the modern world, all the while mulling in my own stupidity. What have I been mulling over this week? Well, wouldn't you like to know? This week I've been mulling over the interesting and exciting topic that is for sure going to send this channel into the stratosphere. That's right, drumroll please. Doing the washing up, a household chore, washing the dishes. That's what this video is about. Not just about that, don't worry, I will go on to make a connection that has hitherto never been made before in the history of recorded time between doing the washing up and artificial intelligence. It's not going to be one of those doom-mongering videos where I say AI is the worst thing since sliced bread and it's going to destroy everything that's holy and steal all our wives. It's also not going to be one of those videos where I say AI is the best thing since sliced bread. It's going to make all our wives happy and mean we never have to work again. It's going to be somewhere in between those two extremes, and hopefully that means a little bit closer to the truth, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Like I said, first I am going to talk about doing the washing up. If you don't like it, you're probably not alone, because I'm guessing this video's got around about 20 views. When have I ever let that stop me? I'm on a one-man mission to get over 100 subscribers so I can finally quit my day job that everyone keeps telling me I should never ever quit under any circumstances, and maybe be able to afford a brand spanking new dishwasher. So without further ado, let's get on with the show, shall we? Me, my wife and I, me and the old ball and chain, moved house. The place we used to live didn't have a dishwasher. The place we live now does not. No, I got that the wrong way around. The place we used to live did have a dishwasher. The place we live now does not have a dishwasher. I've done some calculations. I estimate that we're doing around about 100% more washing up now than we used to. And as some of you will know, doing the washing up can be a pain in the... Don't get me wrong, there are times when I would like nothing more than to take all those dishes, shove them where the sun don't shine, in a dishwasher. But having said this, what I'm about to say is going to make me sound like a massive loser. There is actually something I quite like about doing the washing up. Hear me out. Not often in this modern world of ours with all its screens, machines, planes, trains and automobiles that we get to focus on one simple task almost exclusively. Think about it, back in the day when we were cavemen or women or non-binds, that's all we would do, focus on one simple task after another. Now I sit, now I stare, now I pick up club, now I hit woman with club. If you or any cave woman you know has been hit over the head with a club, please call this number on the screen now for support and advice. But it's not often we get to just focus on one task. Sorry, what? It's not often we get to focus on one simple task without any distractions. Now, obviously, you could put the radio on or listen to a podcast or stand there thinking, you know, ruminating over why you moved to a house that doesn't have a dishwasher. But I prefer to just get lost amongst the soap and hot water and bubbles. Doing the washing up this year has taught me a valuable life lesson. While I was making this video, I realised it's probably a life lesson that I've learned before, and maybe even made a video about it. If you want to find out whether or not I'm right, you can subscribe to my Patreon, where you will be able to access almost 100 videos from the archive. Recently, I managed to convince 5 of my friends to sign up when they were drunk, and I'm hoping that because so little money is coming out of their account every month, they won't notice and unsubscribe. You too could sign up for so little money that you don't notice it leaving your account. So yeah, it's a lesson I might have learned before. Another lesson I learned is that you learn lessons and then you forget them. And that's a lesson that I keep forgetting as well. That's probably the most important lesson, to not forget that you forget lessons. But unfortunately, because of the truth of that lesson, that you do forget it. But this is the lesson. It's this: that in life, there are no shortcuts. Let me explain. When you're doing the washing up, it's tempting to think that the soap and the hot water will do the job for you. Take a mug. I'll get a mug later. Take a mug that's had tea in it. Tea leaves stains that are notoriously hard to get rid of, which is why us Brits has such gloriously yellow teeth. For a long time, I would struggle to get these stains off from the inside of my mug, because I thought, oh, I just needed to use more soap and more hot water. But this year, I realised that actually, you don't need that much soap. You hardly even need any hot water. You just need to scrub. You just need to scrub hard with your fingers and the sponge. You need to scrub hard with your fingers and the sponge. You just need to scrub hard with the fingers and the sponge, and the stains will come off. You see, I thought the soap and the hot water would do the work for me, but I was wrong. I had to do the work. I had to put some effort in. But here's the rub, or the scrub, should I say. In the modern world, we do have dishwashers, and dishwashers will get the stains out for you. So we have invented an effective shortcut that will do the job for us, which is amazing. And this is why I want a dishwasher. This is why you should subscribe. And what is the ultimate shortcut in the modern world today that everyone simply cannot stop talking about? That's right. Drum roll, please. AI, the ultimate shortcut. Don't want to read that book? AI will summarize it for you. Don't want to write that job application, that CV? AI will do it for you. Recently, I found out if you don't want to spend a month working on a video that only 20 people will watch, you can get an app, type in a few words, and AI will make a video for you. And in most cases, it won't do a bad job. And why wouldn't you use it? It saves time, everyone else is using it anyway. But I suppose what I've been reflecting on while doing the washing up is, what are you missing out on? What are you sacrificing when you take these ever so tempting shortcuts? Let's start with the washing up, seeing as that's where the story began. Like I said, maybe you're missing out on having that opportunity to just focus on one simple task without any distraction. A moment of peace from all the chaos in the modern world. Maybe you're missing out on learning some valuable life lessons, like how to do something that's a little bit hard and you don't really want to do, but you're gonna have to do it anyway. In life, there's gonna be lots and lots of things that you find boring and difficult and that take effort. Obviously, we can invent a lot of these technologies that help, but there's always going to be things that you don't want to do. And the less things that you do like that, then the harder other things become, if that makes sense. And also, doing the washing up has become, for me and my wife, quite a nice little time for us to hang out. We used to treat it like a chore, and like one of us would do the washing up, the other one would sit down on the sofa relaxing. But now we've started doing it together, where one of us will be washing up, the other one will be drying up, tidying the kitchen, putting things away and stuff like that. And it's actually becoming quite a nice time for us to hang out and have a chat. And I remember my dad saying something similar. I remember him saying when we had family gatherings, he actually quite enjoyed doing the washing up after, because it would be a time for him and I think like my uncles, the lads, to like get together, and basically they'd have a bit of time to have a laugh and a chat after dinner. A bit of lad talk over the washing up. Oh, that's a nice dish you got there. A nice little jug that is, isn't it? Oh yeah. I don't know what happened there. What about AI? Well, it's a big question, isn't it? Like I said, it's a question on everyone's lip. AI is obviously an amazing tool, but what are you sacrificing every time you use it? I don't know if people actually do use it for this, but if people are getting AI to summarize a book for them, I mean, I would just say, what the heck are you playing at? Reading a summary of a book is nowhere near comparable to reading an actual book. And again, reading a book is one of those things where it takes a bit of patience, it takes a bit of getting into. I love reading now, but it's still not the first thing I'll want to do. And I'm tired and I sit down on the sofa, the first thing I want to do is whack the TV on and look at my phone. Obviously, it's never the first thing I want to do, but when you actually get into a story and get a few pages in over that initial resistance and that initial like, oh, this is a bit harder than just scrolling down my phone, isn't it? It can be so rewarding, and like the things that I've learned from books, the moments I've had reading books, you know, you just can't compare to watching videos on your phone. Getting AI to summarize a book for you, not the one. Getting AI to write job applications, CVs, things like that, that's probably the thing that I would use it for. It's probably the area where I see it's most useful, writing kind of formulaic, boring things that involve a lot of bullshitting and not much independent thought or creativity. So yeah, I can see why people use it for that. But then while I was making this video, I was thinking, well, maybe, you know, writing out your CV, writing out those job applications actually gets you starting to think about all of those things that you will have to talk about in the interview. So maybe getting AI to do all of that for you, you're kind of missing out on that key part of the process and making the interview a bit harder for you. But like I said, that's probably the area where it's most appropriate. Probably one of the areas where it's used the most now is, unfortunately, writing essays. essays and dissertations and things like that. People who are in uni now, I think universities have a big issue with this, and I don't see how it's going to get resolved. But I would just say, if you're a student now thinking about using AI, get it. I'm sure loads of people are using it. It saves time. You're probably thinking, well, I'm taking what it says and turning it into my own words or whatever, fine. But I don't know. I wasn't very academic when I was growing up. It took me a long time to figure out how to write an essay properly. It wasn't until my master's probably that I really figured out how to do it. But the essays that I wrote for my master's, that was such a big moment where I realized I could sit down and actually get through that initial resistance, get through that initial feeling of where do I start, and that desire to procrastinate and do something else and distract myself. Actually sitting down and looking at a blank page, slowly building up an essay bit by bit on your own, doing all that research yourself. I mean, obviously no one reads all the academic papers that they cite anyway. Developing that discernment, which papers should I read, which papers can I just skim read, which papers do I just need to read the abstract and the introduction, and like I said, just going through that whole process, I really felt a big sense of achievement. And especially for someone who wasn't very academic and who struggled in school, actually learning how to construct an argument was a really valuable experience, and I learned a lot about myself doing that. I don't remember like the facts and figures that I read about or the arguments that I made, but I do remember that experience of writing those essays and that sense of achievement that I got, that feeling of like, I can do this. And I think if I had AI, I would have used it and I would not have learned that about myself. That would have been quite sad. So I do think you got to think carefully before you use these tools. Ian McGilchrist talks about this experiment where, I don't know what it was, that scientists were trying to grow trees in a lab for some reason, and they thought they created the perfect conditions for these trees to grow. The trees kept dying and they couldn't figure out why, and eventually they realized it was because there was no wind. So you might think, a small little baby tree, why would you want to plant that outside where it's exposed to the elements and can get blown over by the wind? But in actual fact, that's exactly what it needs. It needs to be exposed to the elements. It needs to be battered by the wind and rain if it's going to grow those deep roots and grow that bark that's strong enough to actually sustain it throughout its life. And I think that's a beautiful metaphor for what we need as humans. If you're going to learn, if you're going to grow, you need some resistance. You need to go through some challenges and some difficulty. I'm not saying that we should batter our kids. I'm not saying that we should leave them outside exposed to the wind and rain, but if you're going to grow and if you're going to learn, everything can't be easy. Like I said, I think with all of these amazing shortcuts and technologies available to us that kind of remove all those barriers and those things that take time and effort, great. But maybe the downside is then we don't learn how to do these hard things, and therefore maybe we don't grow. So I suppose the main message of this video to the 20 people who are watching, before you take these shortcuts, I'm not saying like don't use them, but before you do, maybe just reflect on what are you sacrificing? What are you missing out on? Maybe it's the journey what matters. And when you take a shortcut, maybe you're going to miss out on the whole journey. And it's the journey where you might learn something. Anyway, I've been Dave Mullen, mulling in his own stupidity. Thanks for watching. See you next time.